All right, let's talk about something else. Nicola, in the Sun, the Chancellor being attacked for this cutting the winter fuel allowance.
Yes. So she's been urged to go to a war on waste to pay for pensioners, for all pensioners, to have winter fuel allowance. So they say that it's going to be, the Chancellor has announced that it's going to be assessed according to who can afford it, who can't afford it.
But what's weird is the people attacking her, the Taxpayers Alliance, are normally in favour of not spending money on very much.
Sure.
So they're coming in saying, wait, you've made a cut in the wrong place here.
Yes, they are saying that. And obviously Rachel Reeves is saying that there's £22 billion black hole. I find it interesting that people are suggesting that we take that money from so-called waste within the NHS, rather than, for example, increasing a tax windfall on energy companies who would be able to help.
Which they've already done. I mean...
But to increase that, you cannot be robbing from the NHS to pay for people's winter.
But everyone knows
there's
vast waste across the whole of the public sector, not just the NHS, but I do get contacted by nurses and doctors who tell me the waste in the NHS is extraordinary. What's bizarre about this is, back in the spring, Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer were accusing the government of wanting to remove this allowance and saying it was shocking and awful. And now, in a sense, they're making choices and they've chosen to remove this as opposed to not spend money elsewhere on X, Y or Z. And look, this is all because we've got...
XY coming into every story now.
Do you know that? This is all because we've got high energy bills and they're much higher than pre-COVID, pre the Ukraine war. And that's because of the huge amount of increase in renewables that we're all having to pay for. But that's...
Sorry, isn't the production of renewables and investment into renewables...
No, it's not leading to cheaper energy. It's leading to more expensive energy.
To stop us from being so dependent on, for example, providers like Russia, which is why our increase...
The truth is we've actually become more dependent. But coming back to the reality is this is all about high energy costs. And if we had low energy costs like you've got elsewhere in the world that use their own energy treasure under their feet, such as in America, then this wouldn't be a debate at all.
Drill, get the coal out, get the oil out.
Oil, gas, shale gas, all of these things. This is our energy treasure.
But Richard, you do know that if we were to... I know that you've campaigned to be...
We should scrap net zero, absolutely. And this is the price of net zero.
Oil in the North Sea, but we would not be able to use that in the UK. That would go on the market and it would have to be used
absolute nonsense. That's complete nonsense. In America, where they use their own shale gas, their bills are like a third of ours. And you can organise that so that you can use your own energy treasure and have much...
But that would have to... You would have to overhaul the entire system. But what are we going to do now?
What we should do now is the government should stop wasting money on other things, whether it's in the NHS or elsewhere. We shouldn't be spending as much money on
this is actually
overseas aid, etc.
Yeah, the Taxpayers Alliance are highlighting areas of waste. This is the key thing here, not so much about fuel cost. It's more about why the hell the NHS is spending £112 million on postage stamps every year when they promised to be paperless by 2020.
There is waste everywhere throughout the NHS.
Crazy.
They're still using fax machines, for heaven's sake. I think they're the biggest buyer of
and
fax
they're spending £100 million paying their own staff to take time off on trade union duties. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I couldn't comment on that, but I can absolutely comment. I can
absolutely
comment on the fact that £112 million on postage stamps.
But if we had cheap energy, you wouldn't be debating this at all.
I'll just remind us what Rachel Reeves says about the scrapping the winter fuel payments. So let's have a listen.
I am making the difficult decision that those not in receipt of pension credit or certain other means-tested benefits will no longer receive the winter fuel payment from this year onwards. The government will continue to provide winter fuel payments worth £200 to households receiving pension credit or £300 to households in receipt of pension credit with someone over the age of 80. Let me be clear, this is not a decision I wanted to make.
Taking a lot of heat for that. The first big Labour move in office. OK.